so well throughout the last year, and look for opportunities to buy them on pullbacks when they perhaps have one quarter that is a good but not great quarter.
Danielle, great catching up with you.
Megabit internet and advanced phone for $69.98 per month with over 99.9% network reliability. Call 833-919-2113. That's 833-919-2113.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and thank you for watching. This show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited, all are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. Altitude International Holdings is a sports education and tech company related to high performance. And with me is the CEO, Greg Brunick, to explain more about this. So Greg, great to have you here, and very interesting company to read about. So I understand you're working with some like cutting edge technology for high performance and looking for people to achieve their most physical fitness that they can. So can you explain a little about Altitude International, what you're doing?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, just recently we just merged together. In my past, for the past 40 years, I've spent a lifetime educating and training young individuals who had aspirations to be professional athletes, as well as into the collegiate levels, and develop their learning skills and their competitive competence to where they become super high achieving individuals. And some of the people we built over the years, for example, Agassi, Sampras, Courier, Sharapova, Monica Seles, Kornikova, the list goes on and on and on. We first cut our teeth in the tennis, then we went into the golf, we went into the soccer, into baseball, and into all the different sports. And my academy I have today in Sandpiper Bay, which is Club Med Academies, is what we merged into Altitude. And so Altitude in the beginning was a technology company with the Altitude technology, which is a very sophisticated training system where there are altitude chambers you can train at altitude. So when you get above 8,000 feet, things start to happen. In fact, a Nobel Prize was given for medicine to researchers for discoveries of how cells sense and adapt once you start getting up into altitude. Now, our chambers will go all the way up to 29,000 feet at, which is top of Mount Everest. And so there's a lot of progressions, there's a lot of protocols. So it's phenomenal for endurance training, and it's phenomenal for strength training. And so that's what the company was about before I got into it. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at it because I wanted to take my sports and education business, and I have one other component, my water business, which I'm sure we'll get into, mm-hmm. but I wanted to put them into the public markets. I thought it was a low debt company. I would be able to, have treasury and have access to public markets, which seemed interesting to me. So we've accomplished it, and we're all excited about it. And bundling those companies together create a real opportunity for Altitude to business.
Mm-hmm. So was that the reason behind the merger? Was you taking the company public?
Well, if you look in previous years, I was functioning with a lot of private money. Mm. Most of my partners were 80 to 90 years old, so some of them aren't alive and others are still there. But I was looking for a vehicle to where I could scale up my business. And, when I first started looking at it, I didn't pay that much attention to the technology that was in it. But once I got into it, it's a perfect fit because it's all about athletic development. And that's part and parcel to what we do on a regular basis. So yes, the reason was to merge my company in position so I could scale it up. I'm really at the same level I was when I was at IMG, and we scaled, and it went off to about, I was doing basically 7 digits, and then up to in operations and sports and education, and 8 digits in real estate to my customers. So this business is really, when you put it all together, is a blend of real estate. It's a blend of hospitality, the bed business, food business that we're in. It's also a blend of the sports and the education industries. And inside the education, we're a tuition company. So with a tuition company, taking it into arts and taking it into the sciences is a natural segue. And we sell our tuitions in 51,000 non-boarding and 67,000 boarding. Our students come from all over the world. We have about 40 nations that come and train and live with us 287 days out of the year. And so adding these different, when you bundle them together, you have so many different revenue silos that the opportunity for having a steam engine once everything clicks of a business is pretty exciting. So
yeah, that's very interesting. Now, it looks like you've got an impressive group of board members, managers. Can you talk about the other people that are around you that are helping?
Yeah, really cool, because over the years we've developed so much relational capital, with, if you will, in the sports world and in the business world. Well, we've been assembling some super high profile figures that are keenly interested in our business. In fact, a number of them are sitting on our board and on our advisory board. But Greg Anthony is former New York Knicks, a very enterprising individual, enterprising before he went into the NBA as a young person paying his way through college. He was when he got out of that, he also got into the business world in a significant way. He's one of your top sportscasters. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Greg. So interesting to hear about altitude.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Blockquake is looking to launch its global crypto exchange very soon. So with me to bring us up to date on where Blockquake is CEO Antonio Brass, and then also Sam Hyun, the chief strategist. So great to see you guys again. It's been a long time, and I know we've been through a lot since we last talked. But so Sam, let's start with you. Update us on where things are.
Yeah, definitely. So, thanks for having us, Jane. A lot has been developing on Blockquake's end. We've been essentially working quite diligently on the back end, just making sure that, all integrations are set in stone. Long story short, our plan is to get live by the end of this month. So that's we don't have a specific date per se, but we are extremely confident that we will be going live by the end of this month. So we're extremely excited for that. In terms of kind of further updates, we are initially going to be offering a lot of the top traded cryptocurrencies, along with stable coins, as part of our Blockquake exchange. And we are also looking to kind of have that as one of the trading peer supports with the US dollar. So it's important to note that for all of our future customers on the Blockquake exchange, that they will actually be getting a multi-currency account for the deposit accounts immediately for the 6 fiats. So the 6 fiats would actually include the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the Great British pound, the Australian dollar, and the Japanese yen. So, we do have intentions of adding additional pairs to the 6 fiats along with additional cryptocurrencies soon after going live. But, we definitely wanted to have this sort of scale up approach where, we do have, a foundation set first and then kind of aggressively scale up and ramp up as we go live.
Well, that was just what I was going to ask you about, because that was one thing I really remember, Antonio, was that you talked about, and you came from like the regulation part of the financial industry, and you really talked about how you were making sure, and this feels like this is like a fluid situation. So have you?
Particularly for both myself and Sam specifically, we came from an audit, compliance, risk background in banking and insurance financial services, and we've dealt with a lot of global regulatory matters and other compliance issues in our past life, in our career prior to Blockquake. So a lot of that stuff is coming full circle now, where we leverage a lot of that knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So Sam, talk about some of the partners that you have right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, we have a wide list of partners that we're working with. We have this approach of working with the best in class folks in this space, and we do realize that, with a lot of these partners that we've partnered up with, that, they kind of have their own strengths. So just to kind of list, some of the few out of the many partnerships that we currently have, we are working with the best in class as it relates to liquidity as well as market making. So that's going to be our partnership with Blockfills and Secure Digital Markets. We are also working to make sure from a compliance standpoint and a risk monitoring and all things relating to transaction monitoring, just to kind of ensure that there's mitigation of any sort of fraud. We do have a partnership with Chain Analysis along with Solidus Labs. Just kind of going down the list. We are also working with Fireblocks, who's going to be our hot wallet solutions provider. We know that in terms of the technology that they use, they're using MPC technology, which is, one of the most secure security protocols that are currently in place. So we wanted to kind of make sure that for our customers that are coming onto our exchange, that they were going to feel secure knowing that, okay, Blockquake is working with, all these big players, not just focusing on the retail market, but also taking into consideration all those people in the institutional market as well. We are also trying to find ways to make the entry point easier for our users when they're using our Blockquake exchange. So another example is our integration with Plaid, which will grant our customers the ability to be able to make a deposit via ACH. So it's just an easier gateway for customers to kind of not go through those additional hurdles of having to wait too long to make a deposit, just finding more ways to make the registration process, but also just making the deposit process in order to buy or sell cryptocurrency as easy as possible.
Okay, very interesting, and congratulations on getting this far. And please come back once you launch and update us, and with all the changes that I know you'll be making over the next year or so.
Definitely. It's exciting times. I feel like every month is going to be drastically different going forward.
All right. Best of luck, Sam and Antonio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure is 100% private and does not collect or sell any of your personal data. Secure's Helix technology connects you securely to our Swiss servers without the need of a VPN, guaranteeing privacy and security for all your communications. Secure Messenger doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. Chat by Invites allows you to chat privately and securely with anyone outside of your secure network without the need for others to download Secure. Secure Send offers you a private and secure way to email anyone outside of Secure. You won't find this level of privacy or security on any other email or instant messaging application. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Kylin Network is building a cross-chain platform powering the data economy on Polkadot. And with me is the Chief Stratosphere Officer. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right. And you were the CEO, but it's not CEO as we know it, Chief Executive Officer. So tell me about that. And why did you switch titles?
Yeah, so it was always in the cards when we began Kylin Network that we would move to a DAO, which is DAO. It's another way of saying DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. And that may seem like a mouthful, but basically that means that the authority and control of a project is not necessarily centered in the project founders or an executive team or anything like that in terms of the traditional way that we've come to understand corporate structures. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with corporate structures or startup structures. In fact, they're some of the most efficient ways of organizing projects at early stages. However, it was always our long-term view to organize Kylin in the sense of a DAO, in the sense of the community eventually coming to take control. And indeed, we have sort of this 5-step process as we move more towards the governance and authority over the decision-making about the future of Kylin sitting in the hands of community members themselves. We wanted to kind of put our money, if you will, or Kylin, if you will, where our mouth was. And we felt it really made a lot of sense to upgrade and to recruit from the community itself and put people in positions of power and authority within the project. Now, honestly, I'll admit, we're at a point in our history where Kylin is about to, I think, really explode. We've reached a very large technical innovation within the Polkadot ecosystem called, this is a little technical jargon, but it's called XCMP palette calling. But I didn't feel like I was losing anything by giving more authority over to our CTO, who has now become CEO. And his name's Sam El-Amin. And he, in fact, came from the community. He was a community member as of 7 months ago, became an ambassador, increasingly got involved with our tech team, went to lead tech, then chief technical officer, and now I've given him the reins for more day-to-day operations. I'm Elon Musking it a little bit as I start work on another project that's very synergetic with Kylin called NFT3, where we're working on a virtual identity layer. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking a sort of, I call it Chief Stratosphere Officer because I'm taking more of a high level view of the project. And Sam is leading it, and we're putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to organizing on a principle of what we call DAO in practice, which is everything is oriented toward, that initial vision that we put forward almost a year ago now, of orienting this toward a community governed project.
Thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure.
Enjoy the benefits of the world's first patented time-release hemp-based CBD topical cream. Hourglass has achieved increased topical bioavailability of cannabinoids that slowly release our CBD over an extended period of time. Hourglass is 99% CBD, THC-free, and lab-tested, and verified by scanning our QR codes. Visit hourglassonlinestore.com.
StackOS is a decentralized cloud, and with me to explain exactly what the company is doing is the CEO, Vishnu Korde. So welcome, Vishnu.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for having me here.
So let's just start with a summary of StackOS. What are you doing?
Absolutely. So StackOS is a decentralized cloud and an infrastructure protocol. And we are in the business of creating an environment, a decentralized network, where individuals around the world will be able to provide the compute resources, while developers will be able to click a button and run applications on the decentralized cloud.
Now, the white paper mentions that StackOS decentralized cloud was born out of necessity to solve its own problem. Can you explain what led to the founding of the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So, earlier StackOS was called Integro, and we were building a decentralized learning management system where, we could reward people for their, for learning, basically. So, what we thought was, and our core mission was we created a decentralized platform, but, all the smart contracts which were there for Integro, they were running on Ethereum, which was decentralized, right? But all of our infrastructure on which application was running was centralized. So it wasn't really fair for us to call us a decentralized network if we were actually centralized from the compute system point of view. So that's when we started to build something called IDAL, which was Integro's decentralized application layer, which is now called StackOS. So for us to be able to really call ourselves decentralized, we created StackOS, and that is why it was kind of important for us.
Mm-hmm. What other problems then have you been able to solve along the way?
Yeah, so if you look at this entire system, right? So when you look at the cloud providers, the centralized cloud providers like AWS and GCP, they're really good, right? But the problem is that when people want to really deploy applications, they require DevOps engineers who know how to architect the environments correctly. So what StackOS does is that the DevOps engineers are pretty much made redundant, where you do not need engineers who would be needed to set up these cloud environments. And that's one of the big use cases I think maybe what we try to solve for. Along with that, when let's say that as an organization, if I'm the one who's running the application, and for whatever reasons, one of my nodes go bad and the application goes down, I'm stuck, right? And then I'm having a downtime. So how StackOS really solves that problem is that there are multiple cluster operators around the world, and if an application cluster fails, it starts to move the application from the one cluster to another one. So it basically is able to ensure that our application is unstoppable. So that is kind of something unique about that. Third, I think one of the critical points, I think how StackOS really differentiates from a lot of these cloud providers is that it makes application deployment anonymous. That means that anyone can deploy an application without sharing their identity and having to stick to a specific currency to pay with. So that's how I guess we've been able to solve the problem of decentralization and also of getting the community involved in our system.
Would you call AWS or Google Cloud a competitor?
No, actually. So while the way I like to put this thing is, StackOS is a layer on top of all the cloud providers and the data centers, and the way it solves the problem is that it is able to ensure that we are using the same compute resources from multiple cloud providers, while ensuring that application developers are able to just click a button and have the application running on these cloud providers. Mm-hmm. So in fact, I would call them more as partners, working with us and trying to build up the open source tooling so that their cloud service is more adopted.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you, Vishnu, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Petproducts.com, thousands of products, an Al Simon wee pad inventor company. GlobeXDate, through its secure product, has a lot of answers to hacking questions, cybersecurity, some of the things that we're all been dealing with. And it seems increasingly over the past couple of years with me, the CEO of GlobeXDate is Alon Gahi, to explain a little bit more. And Alon, I know that you launched in mid-July. How is that going?
Doing great. Hi, Jane, and hello, whoever is watching us. So we started an official launch in the US July 15. This started with advertising on NTD Network. A few other things we're doing, our Newsmax segment, our secure segment that's now every Sunday. And we have seen a month-over-month increase over 1,000%. So it's astronomical. I like to say that because we did save over 1,000 identities so far because of the hacking issue and our features that prevent hacking in many ways, because of our privacy regulation, our software, and so forth. We saved so far the American public $30 million in identity theft recovery costs, because it costs on average at least $30,000 for somebody to get back their identity when they're being hacked. And you don't need to be a big corporation. It affects everyone. So the subscription rate has gone up dramatically. Our monthly recurring revenue obviously is going up. And so far, because we started from the 12th of July to now, we're not even the 12th of August. And in August, we also see a dramatic increase of over 2,000% in revenue compared to the same period in July. So, of course, we're not going to expect 1,000% increase every month, but it proves that what we're doing in the marketing is definitely working. And we have a lot more planned in the coming 18, 24 months.
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit, because I know you've been doing a big marketing push in the U.S. with your launch as well. So any plans for that or expansion of that at some point?
Sure. So we started gently, as we like to say, and then, kind of doing A/B testing to see what works. What's coming up in September onward, we're going to have more advertising on Newsmax. We're going to have CNBC, Fox Business. We have a 30-second commercial. And then mid-September onward, we're planning to hire and implement with that company. And we're planning to hire this company that will help us through artificial intelligence, targeting people susceptible of buying secure products. And it's not just consumers. We're launching the business services as well, which I can tell more in a little bit about that. Once businesses get to see our features and our advantages, a lot of them are going to switch to us because we don't use big tech and open source and so forth, and it protects them. And IBM came up with a study last year that each hack cost a business $3.5 million. So that's a lot of money, and it's better to pay us your $10 a month to protect yourself. So we're going to go all over TV. We just launched, we're doing so many things. We just launched over 6 subway station. We launched 156 digital panel with secure privacy has arrived. And that's from 72nd and 2nd in New York, 59th Street Columbus Circle, 59th Street, 14th Street Union Square, Fulton Stop, and Wall Street. And we just started those. We're going to continue throughout the year and into next year. So we're doing a lot of visual and media. And now we're going to layer the artificial intelligence to really target businesses and individuals that go on websites or anywhere that are looking for solutions like ours. And in the future, once we sign it, we will announce who the company will be that we're signing with.
Well, very interesting and timely, because we've just been hearing about hacks on a daily basis. So thank you so much, Kylin. I look forward to more updates.
I've been at Fox Business for 12 years because I'm invested in my